Time Walk with me.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Time Walk with me. I am the Time Walker and I died 15 years ago this very night. Scary, right? You're so scared. Skanos Dragonheart is the commander of this deck and he's very simple. For 4 mana and a radical left green mana, you get a 4/4 Dragon Ranger who gets +X/+X until end of turn when he attacks, where X is the greatest power among other dragons you control and dragon cards in your graveyard. If you can discard a 10/10 dragon early in the game and then cast this on curve or even ahead of the curve, you'll be able to attack with a 15/15 dragon level threat that might require the intervention of One Punch Man. But wait, he has no evasion, so how do you stop your opponents from chump blocking him with Mon's Goblin Raiders? You take him to the Sword Coast while he's young and regale him with the tales of adventure and heroism of the high seas. Arr! As a Sword Coast sailor, Skanos will be unblockable as long as he's attacking the opponent with the highest life total. Dragons. So obviously, Skanos wants to be in the company of dragons, whether they're still alive or not. Ambitious Dragonborn. This guy copies the power of your strongest living or dead creature, so it serves as a bit of redundancy for that. Avenging Hunter. This guy sends you through the Undercity. Bloomvine Regent / Claim Territory. This is a ramp spell and a dragon that gives you 3 life when it or another dragon comes out. Blue Dragon. This is here to be discarded so it can add its strength to Skanos's. Canopy Gargantuan. This guy is pretty scary and will probably be answered fairly quickly, but if it's not, then it makes your other creatures much stronger in a hurry. Clockwork Dragon. You don't have to attack or block with this to get value from it. Just keep adding +1 counters to it so Skanos can get stronger. Draco. This is also here to be discarded to make Skanos stronger. Dragonologist. This human wizard is not a dragon, but it grabs you an instant, a sorcery, or a dragon card from among the top 6 cards of your library when it ETBs, and it gives your untapped dragons hexproof. Earthquake Dragon. This can probably be cast without much trouble, but it's great for discarding for Skanos, especially since you can sack a land to bring it back to your hand from the graveyard. Emerald Dragon / Dissonant Wave. The adventure of this dragon could come in very handy, and nobody would expect it from a green source. Green Dragon. This will make people reluctant to block, not that it'll be an issue since you'll be attacking with an unblockable creature anyway. Kaiga the Tide Star. If someone kills your dragon, you steal their creature. Corlessa, Scale Singer. This expands your hand to include the top card of your library, and you can bring out a surprise blocker. Kura, the Boundless Sky. This guy is a flying death toucher, which is great for deterring attacks, and if it gets murdered, you get 3 lands or a big spirit token. Quicksilver Dragon. As long as you have a blue mana to spare, this dragon can't really be targeted, and you can spring it on people by morphing it. Path to Exile on my morph creature? How about you lose your Blightsteel Colossus instead? Renari, Merchant of Marvels. This is not quite as good as Corlessa, but it's still pretty good. Casting dragons during opponents' turns allows you to block creatures they didn't know you could block, and gives your creatures a form of haste because they were out during your upkeep. Sagu Wilding / Roostseek. This can put a basic land into your hand, and it can come out and give you 3 life if you think it's worth it for 5 mana to get a 3/3 flyer. Sapphire Dragon / Psionic Pulse. Here's another dragon that counters stuff, this time non-creature spells. Then it can become a 5/6 that scries when it participates in combat. Sword Coast Serpent / Capsizing Wave. This is the only card with Sword Coast in its name other than the deck's background, so it had to be in here. It can get a creature out of the way as an instant, and then it can be an unblockable 6/6 Serpent Dragon. Whirlwing Stormbrood / Dynamic Soar. This dragon can go on an adventure to make Skanos stronger, and then it's a flashy dragon that makes your sorceries and other dragons flashy too. And Young Blue Dragon / Sand Augury. Not really anything to say about this one. Changelings. Changelings are dragons. Bloodline Pretender. This one doesn't do much good in the graveyard, but on the battlefield it can get big enough to pose quite a threat. Chameleon Colossus. This shapeshifter can make itself quite big. For 12 mana, it can make Skanos big enough to take someone out in 1 attack. I could have emphasized doing that a lot more in this deck, but I already have some decks that do that. I just wanted a mellower deck that plays a little slower. Changeling Titan. on the battlefield or in the graveyard, this adds 7 to Skanos' power and toughness. And Morit of the Frost. If you have a big dragon on the battlefield, this can copy it and be bigger. Discard. These cards help you get rid of a dragon that's big but too expensive to cast. Compulsion. Matzalantli, the Great Door / the Core. This lets you discard 1 card per turn, which should put something big in your graveyard to strengthen Skanos. Oblivious Bookworm. This lets you draw a card during your end step if you want to, and it lets you discard something unless you're playing face down stuff, which this deck is not. Rousing Reed. This makes Skanos a little stronger and it draws you 2 cards and lets you discard 1. Commander Enhancement. We got Archipelagore. You can mutate Skanos into this and make it a 7/7 with all of Skanos' abilities and tap down a creature for 2 turns. And if you mutate it more times, it taps down even more creatures. Cradle of Safety. This aura has Flash, gives Skanos +1/+1, and temporarily gives him Hexproof. Exponential Growth. With no dragons on your field or in your graveyard, this can allow Skanos to take someone out for just 8 mana. Glowcap Lantern. Usually creatures are reluctant to attack because they might be blocked and killed, but Skanos doesn't have to worry about that as long as he's attacking the opponent with the most life. He can attack and explore every turn. Glowstone Recluse. You would put this creature under Skanos so he retains his original power and toughness. Then he'll get reach and 2/+1 counters whenever he mutates. Magic Damper. This thwarts one attempt to take out Skanos with targeted removal, and it makes him stronger to punish the opponent who does it. Raised by Giants. This makes Skanos a 10/10. Any enhancement beyond that and he can take someone out in 2 attacks. Ranger's Guile. This isn't as good as Magic Damper, but it does a little bit of what it does for the same amount of mana, but this time in green. Shameless Charlatan. If an opponent has a creature that's better than Skanos, you can use this to turn him into it. Starlit Mantle. This is the same thing as Cradle of Safety, but with a different name. Swiftfoot Boots. This makes Skanos harder to answer, and it gives him haste, which is always nice. And Thief's Knife. When Skanos uses this and damages a player in combat, you draw a card, and he'll definitely hit someone. Other. We got Counterspell. Dreamtail Heron. Every time Skanos mutates, you get to draw a card. Goggles of Night. Every time Skanos hurts somebody, you get to scry 1 and draw a card. Herald's Horn. Choose dragons when this comes out, and they become cheaper to cast, and you can check the top card of your library and put it into your hand without drawing it if it's a dragon. Hunter's Insight. For 3 mana, this will draw you 4 cards at the very least, since Skanos will definitely get through. Jace Mirror Mage. Early on, you can cast this without the kicker to help make sure you get enough lands. A little later, you can pay its kicker and get 2 of them, allowing you to really dig through your deck for whatever you need. Louis Sox's Sacrifice? I'm sure that's mispronounced, but whatever. This dude's Sacrifice. Earlier today, someone cast a 0/0 creature with Devour. I used this to counter the Devour ability and kill it. Mystery Key. 3 cards for 3 total mana? Not a bad rate. Pouncing Shore Shark. This makes Skanos bounce your opponent's creatures every time he mutates. Souvenir Snatcher. With this, Skanos steals non-creature artifacts from people when he mutates. The Key to the Vault. When Skanos hits somebody while you're using this, you look at least the top 4 cards of your library, pick any non-land from among them, and cast it for free. Trumpeting Gnar. This gives you a 3/3 whenever you use it to mutate Skanos. And Willbender. Without using the stack, this can change a spell's target. It can't be responded to in any way, it just happens. Ramp. Arbor Adherent. This could end up tapping for quite a bit of mana, especially during the post-combat main phase when Skanos pumps himself up. Deathbloom Gardener. When this lady isn't providing mana of any color to your mana pool, she's discouraging ground-based attacks, especially from non-trampling creatures. Krosan Restorer. This can tap to untap either 1 land or up to 3 if you have a lot of cards in your graveyard. That means that you could even untap 0 lands if you want, or you could untap your opponent's lands, just to be nice. Llanowar Tribe. These elves cost 3 green and tap for 3 green. Migratory Greathorn. 3 mana to tutor a basic land onto the battlefield tapped is pretty standard, but you get to do it again every time Skanos mutates. Nature's Lore. This will get you any forest, not just a basic forest. Reap and Sow. For 4 mana, this can destroy a land or tutor any land onto the battlefield untapped. It's not limited to basics, and you can pay 2 more mana to do both. Sylvan Scrying. This tutors any land and puts it into your hand. Again, this isn't limited to basics, so it's pretty cool. And Whisperer of the Wilds. This taps for a green or 2 green if you have a decently big creature. Lands. We got forests and islands, obviously. Crystal Grotto. I put this in many decks for the free Scry 1 on a land that doesn't ETB tapped. Evolving Wilds. Fertile Thicket. This came in handy earlier today when I stupidly kept a 2-land opening hand. Mirage Mesa. Myriad Landscape. Night Market. Quandrix Campus. Temple of the Dragon Queen. Thornwood Falls. And Vibrant Cityscape. And that's it! Tell me what you think of my umpteenth Voltron deck in the Tell Me What You Think section, and remember, you don't love your country if you support a tyrant's takeover of it.